Good morning. Welcome, everyone. I want to welcome you to our tax investment zone number 2 meeting. Thank you all for being here this morning. Ms. Huerta, would you call the roll, please?
Vice Chair Mike Pesley.
Here.
Chairman Dan Suckley.
Here.
Board members Libby Ayert is absent. Roland Barrera is absent. Sylvia Campos.
Here.
Brent Chesney. Joe Gonzalez is absent. Paulette Guajardo.
Present.
Gil Hernandez.
Here.
Michael Hunter.
Here.
Jim Klein is absent. John Mattis. I've already called Mr. Pesley. Everett Roy is absent. And Connie Scott is absent. We do have a quorum present to conduct the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Huerta. Do we have anyone here for public comment this morning? Seeing no one, we have, let's see, we don't have minutes to approve, no executive session, so we'll move to item G1, which is approve the calendar. Do I have a motion to approve the calendar, please?
So move.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. It passes. We'll move to item G2, motion authorizing addition.
I'm sorry, we need to see Councilmember Suckley on the screen for
I'm
his
sorry.
vote too.
We got to get Dan on the screen.
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Item number 2, G2, motion authorizing addition of the Whitecap and Gypsy Bridge Scour Protection Project to the adopted fiscal year 2024 CIP plan. Jeff Edmonds, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, board members. I've got a PowerPoint, if we can pull that up. Okay, well, if we can't, it's in your packet. So this item is adding a project to the capital improvement plan to retrofit bridge scour protection countermeasures to the Gypsy and Whitecap bridges. And if you go to the next slide. As you know, there are some dams, earthen dams out there that are preventing navigation and limiting flow through the canal system. And one of the objectives with the Don Patricio Bridge was to allow that free flow of water, water exchange of the canals, improve water quality, and allow navigation through Lake Padre to Packery Channel. We're working to get the parties to increase their comfort level in removing those dams and allowing that flow. Now, when looking at the potential effects of that, we engaged LJA to do some study to look at what would happen with the flows and the velocities in the canal system. And the Padre Island property owners were also concerned. They engaged their own consultant to look at it. And obviously with greater flow, greater water exchange, you have greater velocities, and you have the potential for erosion. The areas of concern for erosion were the areas where we have what they call a flow constriction at the bridges. And we have 2 bridges that the city maintains that are on the south of the Don Patricio Bridge. That's the Whitecap Bridge and the Gypsy Bridge. And the original construction of these bridges, let's go to the next slide, didn't really contemplate scour protection measures. And they've actually suffered similar type failures in Hurricane Allen back in 1980. So there's some vulnerability there with the opening of the canals, particularly when you have a surge situation, storm situation. There's potential for increased velocity under the bridges, which can cause scour and mine material from behind the bridge. So this is an illustration from a Federal Highway Administration publication that illustrates this type of failure. So really what's vulnerable is the abutment, the bridge approach, and not as much the superstructure because they're on a deep pile foundation. Next slide. So this is kind of what the structure looks like. Whitecap and Gypsy are both very similar. They have concrete sheet pile abutments. There's concrete piles that support the bridge superstructure, and there's a concrete bulkhead on the water side. But it's not very deep, unfortunately. So the bottom of those sheet piles and the bulkhead goes about to the original channel elevation underneath the bridge. Next slide. So the bridge design is susceptible to some damage due to scour. So if the scour gets deep enough, it can mine material from back behind the bulkhead and the bridge abutment and cause settlement and failure of the bridge approach. So next slide. So this is an illustration of a potential solution. We've just done a conceptual design and cost estimate, but this illustrates using stone riprap and trimming concrete in there. That's one solution. There's others. We're probably going to bid with some alternates to try and get the most cost-effective solution. But the idea is to armor that area underneath the bridge so that it can better withstand velocity. And again, this will create that project in the CIP and appropriate the TIRZ funding to be able to implement it. And I stand ready for any questions.
All right, questions, anyone? Question? Yes, sir.
Jeff, two things. One, the 1.5 million is for both bridge structures, right?
Yes, sir.
And then do you mind going back to the map, the aerial map, just for the viewing public? So the Don Patricio Bridge that the city built, those earthen dams will be removed before the scour protection is done, is that correct?
I believe they're working on that right now, and I believe they've almost reached an agreement between Diamond Beach Holdings and Padre Island property owners to remove those.
I thought, aren't those exclusive of the PIPOA agreement? Because that's, those are managed by Whitecap exclusively outside of the PIPOA agreement.
I think I'm going to let Jeff Coyne.
Coyne's here if he wants to, yeah. They were working on the bulkheading or some materials, Jeff Coyne, just so the public knows and just so we're not, just so everybody knows, since we're on the topic, Chairman, if you'd indulge us.
Good morning, Chairman and TIRZ Board. Jeff Coyne with LJA Engineering. So where we're at on that, as of last night, Peter, the PIPOA's attorneys had responded to Diamond Beach's attorneys, and the language is all in agreement, or they're all in agreement in the language in the document. So at this point, it's a matter of just getting signatures, is what I'm told. So it's imminent, is how I would put that. Now, our construction efforts, we are about, I would say 90% done with the Don Patricio connection. And then they're going to be moving south to the Island Walk connection. And everything's anticipated to be opened up by mid-February.
Everything being Don Patricio Bridge plus the second dam on the picture here, or just
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That one area where you see where it's labeled dam, that's already been removed. Oh, I'm sorry, no, to the north of there, right, if you move that cursor up the canal, that one is not there. All the others are still in place.
Okay, so the one where the call-out box that says Don Patricio Bridge, those two earthen dams, one on each side of the bridge,
Yes, sir.
they will be removed after the PIPOA agreement signed?
Yes, sir. Well, those
okay.
two may come before that.
Right,
Now,
that's-
we have
okay.
talked with Tim Lang and Ross Partlow on the Lake Padre side.
Okay,
The goal is the same contractor we're using. When they're done with our efforts, they're going to move over to their side and pull their plug.
right,
So-
okay, and you just said it, Jeff, so those two potentially can be removed before the PIPOA agreement's in place that really dictates the second one that's called dam on this picture.
Yes, sir.
That's good, important for the public to know, because the city built the bridge and there should be water access underneath it. The holdup is the bulkheading or just the shoring up of the embankments, which there was some delay in ordering the material by Whitecap and
Correct.
Whitecap Preserve. So once all that material's in, once that construction's complete, then that earthen dam will be removed by Whitecap Preserve, and the same contractor potentially would move the one on the other side that Tim Lang owns.
That's correct.
Okay, and then after the PIPOA is all in agreement, then that second dam can be removed but
Yes, sir, and-
they're mutually exclusive.
The majority of that construction on where it says dam there is on our property or Diamond Beach Holdings property, so they are
Right.
starting that this week. And the actual connection, though, will need to have that agreement in place.
They're starting what this week?
The actual construction of that area where the dam is
Okay.
mainly on Diamond Beach's property.
Okay.
It's just a real small portion of the PIPOA bulkhead connection that we need
Okay.
to have that agreement in place.
Okay, and then finally, that mid-February, is that for the dam or the Don Patricio
That,
removal?
we are anticipating everything to be open by then.
Okay,
by
but we can hope to see the Don Patricio Bridge open sooner.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and the city may do some type of an event there to commemorate that, because we did do a bridge ribbon cutting ceremony, but once that waterway is open, we may do some small event just to commemorate it, just for the council's awareness and the community's awareness. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So, hold on just a second. So you think that we'll have all this in place, we'll have contractors hired and all that and have this job done by mid-February?
Yes, sir. The contractors are already under contract, and especially on the Diamond Beach side, Whitecap side. And I do know in talking with Tim Lang, they have a previous contract with the same contractor. So, oh yeah, not the scour protection, sorry. I'm
Okay,
Speaking
all right.
to the removal of the plugs.
So removal of the plugs will take place before the scour protection is put in
Yes,
place?
sir. Yes, sir.
Right.
Okay.
And there'll be two different removal dates. So the one under Don Patricio will be done sooner than the one
Correct. Yes, sir.
heading
Okay.
towards the PIPOA section.
Okay. Could you open up the PowerPoint one more time? I have one quick question, and we'll move on, and move to the slide where it shows the cross-section. I'm sorry I asked now. Okay, go forward. Forward. Again. Okay. Jeff, so is all that we're seeing here going to be new construction, so the concrete sheet piles and all that is going to be
No,
part of
all that's
this?
existing
All that's existing?
on this, and that's just illustrating the mechanism of undermining they could experience. So
And the concrete bulkheads are there already?
concrete bulkheads are there, but the problem is the bottom of the bulkheads.
Too shallow?
Or too shallow. If
Go to the
they're
next slide.
Much deeper, we
Yeah.
might not even be having this conversation.
Okay, so the plans are to put in a new bulkhead and go deeper?
No?
I think we can preserve the existing bulkhead with this.
You're just going to use the scour and the elevation change to offset the depth?
Councilman, this is a rendition of the existing, everything on the right, the gray pylons, that's all existing.
Okay.
The work is to the left, that riprap, that rock-looking structure.
Right.
So Jeff, explain it again, that you're going to have a riprap in the bottom with some type of a concrete.
Right, there's going to be some type of armoring system over the soil underneath the bridge to prevent it from eroding.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I had. Anyone else?
Council Pusley?
Questions? Yeah, Gil?
So is this similar to what we did at the Mud Bridge with the wrap around the pilings?
Maybe a little bit at the abutment where we armored those.
I mean, just looking from the drawings, it looks very similar.
That was articulated matting, was it not?
Yeah, that's what was there before. And it eroded, and we put riprap, this was concrete embedded.
So you're wrapping the concrete pilings with the, I guess it's a reinforced concrete cap?
It's basically, I mean, this is one concept. So articulated block mat, like we had at Packard Channel, is one option. Riprap with concrete trimming into it to hold it together is what's illustrated here. That's another option. They also
So you don't have a method you're going to use, you're going to do the evaluation then decide, or?
Correct. We have just done conceptual design enough to come up with a budgetary cost estimate on this. But we wanted to go ahead and bring the project to the TIRZ to create the project, and we'll continue going on refining design and put it out for bid and bring those contracts back to council.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone
Motion
else?
to approve as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same
Aye.
sign. Dan, are you there?
Yes,
need
can we
your
see
picture.
Councilmember Suckley? Thank you, Chairman, Vice Chairman.
There he is.
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we're good to go. Okay, we'll move to item G3, motion authorizing an agreement to the TIRZ number 2 development reimbursement agreement with Ashler Interest LLC for the Whitecap development. Heather
morning.
Hulbert, thank you very
Yes.
much.
Good morning, Heather Holbert, Assistant City Manager. And this item is approving the actual development, or amending the development agreement. So this project was actually approved by the TIRZ Board back in September. And so this is bringing forward the amended development agreement. If the board likes, we can walk through what those projects are, or if you have any specific questions, I can answer those too.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions, further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That's it. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
If there's no further business to come before this board, we are adjourned.
I don't know, sometimes I jump the gun, that's why you caught me off